Yeah, certainly. But we'll see how things turn out here in the ninth round. And kind of can be important in these best of one scenarios to just get that preferred side. So APEKS starting off on the CT side. Touched on it a little bit recently with kind of like Vertigo and Dust 2. Those two maps seem to be edging a little bit more towards the T side. But teams still fairly often, Dust 2's a little up in the air, but definitely seem to prefer the CT side. And I think it's like the economy system at the moment is just insanely difficult to deal with from time to time on that CT side. So it can feel good to start there, get it out of the way, and not have to worry so much about that going into your second half. So we'll see as we get into the action. Bit of utility brought up here for a Kez. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we've got 2 mollies coming out. Kind of an interesting buy here from NEMIGA.
Yeah, it could be some sort of set piece to come out for the Belarus side, maybe over towards the B bomb side, try and get a barrels molly out and maybe a bridge smoke or something. And obviously, Lubeck being able to provide some fantastic odds in this series. So if you do want to get involved, the odds will be on your screen to get involved in this best of one action. But into the pistol round, already a bit of an early commitment coming out from NEMIGA towards this B bomb side. But APEKS, they find that opening kill.
Ooh. Pretty good stuff coming in from Lollipops. Take down Dennis. Has been traded back quickly. It's a little crazy in on the site. Bruce will trade one back, but it's not looking like they're going to hold on to things here. And that'll be the pistol. A little messy there from APEKS. Getting caught completely off guard. And not really able to trade anything back. I mean, even the rotations were in quickly, but it was just open fights for those Glocks, and they're able to easily run away with that.
Yeah, certainly right for APEKS. It almost seemed like they were completely out of position on that bomb site. They found that opening kill, they fell back, but I don't think they expected how quickly the pressure was going to come in for the T side. And well, those Glocks, they just got up close and personal and just were ripping heads apart. APEKS will force the issue coming back into round number 2. I suppose something that is pretty common nowadays for the CTs forcing on after losing the pistol round. Getting a bit of aggression out towards long, but so far not really any contact being made for the City side. Good opening coming out from Joe, and well, for APEKS, they lose that opening scout.
Yeah, pretty important, I think, to hold on to that in a round like this. The Deegs and Scouts, like you say, pretty common, but they do need to work in tandem. Not an awful lot coming off the back of it, though. NEMIGA, I like the way that they're playing this. They find the opener and even ditching the Scout by the looks of things, or getting rid of it. Maybe Speedic just holding on to it. I think he was only on the P250 to save as much cash as possible, get that AWP out as soon as. So pretty decent stuff, like I say, from NEMIGA. Early opener, waiting to see if there's any counter-aggression from APEKS. And now looking to go into the final movement of the rounds. Really slowing things down here, though. I think, once again, just waiting for the utility to dissipate. It is going to be a little deadly. Moving into this B bomb site, there's 3 CTs ready and waiting.
There is a bit of a stack coming out here from the APEKS side, but it depends if they can find anything. The deal, not finding anything from Grass, and will they just continue into the side? NEMIGA are running the clock down quite low, but they're finding these trade kills pretty easily. And well, APEKS, even with having 3 players over at this B bomb site, not even a single kill has come through. That was looking pretty scary. NEMIGA, the confidence to just, once they get the site, they could have just played passive. They could have just, you know, played the post part, but they want to try and take the fight. They want to keep aggressing.
Yeah, they're going to keep on going for it. I mean, I think that's a lot of what we're going to see in this game. Once again, another team, talk about it a fair amount, but they're another team where confidence and momentum, very, very important for them. If they get off to a good start, if they get the ball rolling, particularly on the T side of things, they can be very dangerous. So we'll see here. Full eco pretty much coming out from APEKS. As you can see, Dennis has got a flash in hand. Didn't quite catch whether he bought up a pistol, but it doesn't look like it, judging by his money. Unfortunately, they're going to go B again, and there's no one here. So, easiest round for NEMIGA. They are very, very thankful that there's no one stacked up. And yeah, they're not even going to find anyone here. They're going to try and track down a lone T that's maybe hanging around. Just not going to happen. So, a bit unlucky for APEKS, but clean third on the board for NEMIGA.
And you can see these MAC-10s, like they're hungry because they know $600 per kill. Let's just try and go for it. I mean, they've certainly got a lot of money in the bank, so seeing if they can take down some of these USPs can do some great job of just trying to strengthen that economy. I say that, but APEKS, they do actually end up kind of establishing a bit of a crossfire around that party position, and well, it will be a third round coming out for the NEMIGA side. Let's see if I can get the AWP out for Marcelios on the city side. That's actually pretty impressive. 2 kills going the way, and well, NEMIGA, they're probably going to be pretty disappointed that those MAC-10s didn't find anything.
Yeah, kind of does suck, like you say. It's just free and easy money, but I guess not the case in the end for them. They were probably going to upgrade to AKs anyway. But it's just nice. I mean, we'll talk about it an awful lot across the course of the tournament, particularly at this level. I feel like the way the economy is at the forefront of the meta at the moment really does have a big effect. So finding those little kills on the MAC-10s, it might seem like a small thing, but it can save you bacon later on in the game.
One thing that I'm certainly noticing here, Scrib, look at the lack of utility coming out from APEKS, and that's the fact that, you know, they could have potentially brought down some FAMASas to get more utility out, but going for those M4s and the AUG have almost nothing. And, well, they've already siphoned off the opening kill. APEKS, he tried to get aggressively, but obviously didn't realize that there could have been any potential of already some short control coming out, and you just get sandwiched between 2 T-side players. And well, for APEKS, considering the fact that their aggression doesn't work out, that is not the greatest of starts in round number 4.
Definitely not what they were looking for, and I like this, trying to get a bit aggressive at short there. Unfortunately, no one around, but they're making an attempt to pick up the pieces, as it were. Just nothing really coming their way. NEMIGA once again working off of the opening pick, similar to the anti-force buy round, and just taking it a bit slower. Boost up coming in, trying to find some information, but not getting too crazy, not just running straight in after they found that opening pick. A lot more structure to their T side than I'm used to seeing, honestly. Whereas a map like Overpass really does hand itself to that. Oh, beautiful Heaven Smoke coming in, as they will now indeed hit the B bomb site, and a flash attempt comes in, but Dennis not able to find anything. Truth falling pretty quickly thereafter. Groose, missing the mark as well. It's fallen apart for APEKS, as it'll be a flawless round coming in for NEMIGA. I suppose Marcelius will keep a hand onto his AWP, but ultimately it's looking pretty dominant so far.
And one thing we kind of spoke about to the pre-game script was the fact of, you know, the firepower is certainly in favor of the NEMIGA side. And you just look at that B bomb site. Yes, they took their time and they found that opening kill and they slowed it down. But the B defense was pretty weak. Yes, they do a bit of damage onto Speedak and Lollipop, but all in all, I mean, those M4s should have at least been able to take a couple of kills and trade out. And NEMIGA just wide swinging with AKs. And, well, Marcelios, at least he's going to be able to bring into an AWP into the next round so they can potentially upgrade some CZs, some Deagles to kind of back it up on a half bite. And, yeah, for NEMIGA, they get that opening kill pretty early into the round. They slow it right down. They try and force out all the utility for APEKS. They kind of second-guess themselves on the rotations. And well, for the T side, it's looking pretty breezy in the early stages of Overpass.
Yeah, maybe a little too much as well. I mean, sure, it's only our first rifle round and whatnot, but it's kind of worrying signs early on. And for me, I often talk about the fact that these opening rounds, if NEMIGA are able to get to, I suppose, 6 would be maybe if they win the next rifle round, you kind of expect them to win this one. Do need to be careful. Might have just cursed them with that, but in theory, you expect them to take it, right? But it's these 5 or 6 rounds in a row at the start of the game that can just make the difference in the end. So APEKS need to get a foot in the door, and a solid foot in the door in the next couple rounds, and turn the momentum shift in their favor. And, well, Truth taking the head off of Joe completely uncontested. Might just be the opening that they need. Bear in mind, the AWP is nearby, smoked offshore, but could do a hell of a lot of damage. Or maybe Truth is going to do a bit more. No, he'll get taken down by MDS. Still 1.5 kills, I suppose, coming in for him. Groose holding the back end. Oh, no, that's a bit awkward. Misses the shots. That might be the pick that NEMIGA need.
Oh, that was really awkward coming out there from APEKS. They actually started that round off really nicely. They get a 5-on-4, they get an opening pick out through connector, they get a deep connector play coming out from Grass, and unfortunately, they can't really hold on to that man advantage. NEMIGA, once again, slowing it right down. 40 seconds, trying to make their way at least close to the B bomb site. Now, they will have to deal with a couple of Deagles here, But you'd have to say, especially with the amount of utility they have, they should be able to deal with these players pretty easily. APEKS is at least going to be able to find one. Can he follow up with any more? No, the instant trade coming out. And Dennis going to be the last one left, but he can't find any more than that. 3 players staying alive, a 5-0 start. And you spoke about those early momentum coming through on the T side. If they're able to win out this gun round, then I'm seriously worried for APEKS.
It is very early on in this game, kind of a do or die feeling at the moment for APEKS. So, need to pull something out of the bag here into round number 6. NEMIGA, that dangerous level of confidence is really coming in where they feel like they're in a bit of an unassailable position. And even if they lose a round, they have such a cushion to work with in terms of the money, in terms of the scoreline, that it can be very, very difficult to indeed knock their confidence. Like to see this though. Aggressive pushes. Ooh, a bit of a failed nade from Dennis, but it's all good. There was no one around that could potentially have taken that damage, so it's okay.
And at the moment, this is probably the most aggressive hold we've seen out from APEKS so far. And you've got to think, how does this like just fall apart? The connector player goes down, an aggressive player around that fountain area goes down. And, well, NEMIGA, they've able to get an opening advantage. MDS has now pretty much cleared this A bomb site, or it's going to be open. He's going to be able to call it out to his teammates. Yes, he knows Marcelios is over towards long, so he's got that information. He can either sell a fake here at the A bomb site, take the AWP down, and try and get the bomb to B. He's got so many options, and, well, NEMIGA have already got a 4-2. You got to think there's no way that APEKS can win this round now.
Yeah, probably another call to save, but at this point, I think they think the B bomb site is the safe site. Ooh, by the case, aggression coming in from APEKS, pretty effective. The trade as well, instantaneous from Gruss, and well, the B attack has fallen apart. So suddenly, APEKS have pulled this back in their favor. 1 versus 1, MDS, not much information to work with, and just going to walk straight into Crosshair, wins the fight regardless. Big 3K coming in from MDS in that round. It's a hell of a close one for NEMIGA, but still they managed to get their 6th on the board, and it just begs the question, if that player in Connector had been a little more aware, it seemed like a really weird fight to lose. APEKS might just have snatched one, but not going to be the case, and now we see them with another half buy.
Oh man, that's really unfortunate. For NEMIGA, that's probably just them overthinking things. They've cleared out that A bomb site. They could have just wrapped that bomb up through connector and head straight into A, but what they wanted to do is try and sort of like fake out the rotations and hit B, and well, they get run into a slaughter. So it is a great recovery coming out in that 1 versus 1, but a very, very close round. The closest one from APEKS yet. And going into round number 7, it's just going to be the half buy attempt to come through. Lollipop. Oh, look at these 3 kills. Very, very sharp. Oh, almost the ace.
Unlucky. Just stolen away by Dennis, but indeed, crisp. And you talked about how important and effective he is for the NEMIGA side. Get to see it again, of course. Love a good double spray down. If only he had a few more bullets, eh?
If only. But that's all of Counter-Strike, isn't it? If only. You seem like you always say that. It's like, if only we knew this. But look, for APEKS, they've realized, right, okay, we're struggling on the city side. We're struggling to find the opening man advantage. They even missed the T-Con molly. They're running double AWPs. Man, APEKS, like, we've seen Dennis missing HE grenades. Now we're just seeing missed incendiaries. Like, yes, you can kind of understand sometimes, but this cannot continue to happen.
Yeah, feels a bit too consistent, unfortunately. Marcelius is going to open up, though. So, maybe this is the opportunity that they need. We'll now get to see a little bit. I think for the first time in quite some time here, APEKS are going to have themselves a decent advantage to work with. An untraded opening from their AWP. See how NEMIGA respond is the ultimate question. Lollipop left on 45 HP as well, so looking pretty good here, all things considered for APEKS. Minute left in the round. NEMIGA with very little map control to work with. We do have a fair amount of utility available, but I think it's going to be kind of a tough one to break open a site. They do seem, with how slow they're moving and whatnot, not to have much of an idea, honestly, of where they want to go and how they want to approach things. So as the time ticks down, APEKS are in a really great position to actually pick up their first.
if MDS gets a kill, that can maybe try and force an over-rotate to this A bomb site. So really it comes down to him to see if he could just find something. He's already quite low at 10 points of health, and even with that contact being made, no rotates come through. They're going to try and make their way to the B bomb site. APEKS does go down. They pick up that bomb, and they try and go into B, but they need to deal with these defenders. They need to deal with the orb. Marcelios is going to go down, but there's still another player into the side, and that's Grass. The quick rotate already coming out from Dennis to the heaven position. And finally, it's going to be a round going the way of APEKS. And it starts off with that opening man advantage. And you're right, NEMIGA, it just seemed like they were locked down. They weren't really sure, do we want to make a play to A? Do we want to stay B? It was a lot of nothing going on for quite some time.
Yeah, it's a little tough for them, I think, to find a way back in. That untraded opener so early on in the round when they don't really have any kind of control of the map to go, oh, there's a guy here, therefore this area might be vulnerable, you should push it, right? They're just not close enough to do anything. So APEKS, credit where credit is due, able to indeed, when they are ahead, close things out. The only thing is they make life incredibly difficult for themselves by losing 7 in a row before they're able to get one on the board. They've now got to keep it going. These next few rounds are going to be difficult if they come close. You know, as you can see, even into this one, they have a good couple of players with very little utility to speak of. So definitely going to need to keep it going. Can't just get the one and allow NEMIGA to get straight back in. So hate to be a negative Nelly about it, but there is a little bit more work to do before we start to praise them for their decent attempt here on the CT side.
We've seen probably 2 or 3 rounds now that APEKS are running a quadra setup at this B bomb site. I wonder when this information is going to come through for NEMIGA to maybe go for like a quick long take or, you know, a quick bathrooms execution just to try and get the map control, because, well, for the most part, at least in the early rounds, we're seeing a lot of presence over to this B bomb site. Finally, they've rotated a second player to try and back up Truth. But NEMIGA, this is the first time they're actually heading towards this A bomb site.
Doing something a bit different. See if there's vulnerabilities in the defense over here. Great angle from Truth. Looks away at the wrong time, though, and it cost him his life. MDS, Speedic, 2 quick kills coming in, and surely that's just an immediate call to save. Not a single point of damage traded back by APEKS, and it will be NEMIGA in with the 8th, just like that.
Oh my, that was over pretty quickly. Those entries were so quick to that A bomb site. And well, for APEKS, they can't do anything. Maybe if they got a couple of kills, they could have rotated their players up, but having 3 players at B with pretty much no utility, they've got no idea if the T's have even pushed forward in towards, like, even further into the stairs, into heaven. They just don't have this information. And, well, what a response coming out from NEMIGA. And it's actually kind of interesting how many rounds they've actually hit that B bomb site that finally they go A. And, well, for Truth, he looked like he was holding a pretty good angle with the AWP. Should have been able to find an opener, and a little bit unfortunate with the timing, and just straight away, Dennis and Truth, they go down so quickly. And 8-1 on the T side. This, at least, they can drop 2 M4s. Considering there's 3 players staying alive and that most players have got around 3K, they can drop 2 M4s. So they can at least get a full buy in for round number 10. But you got to think, for APEKS, when are we finally going to see some rounds? Like, we've only seen 1.
Yeah, they need a bit more at this point, honestly, and kind of begs the question of perhaps too little, too late. I don't know. It's really, really difficult for them. It needs at least 5, but even then, not the best of results. And like I say, it just takes them a little bit too long to get that foot in the door initially. So timeout, kind of rightly so, but we'll see how much of an effect it has as we get back into the action. Buy's not too bad here from APEKS. So the save definitely did help them in a big, big way. But seriously, need to string a few together in the next... Well, they need this round, then they need the one after, and maybe the one after that before they let the ball slip again. It's really a tough ask for any caliber of team to just switch things so radically. Kez going to be tagged down low, and Joe's taking a bit of damage, but that's almost a kill onto a Kez. He needs to be very careful of maybe utility raining in. Truth, though, will be the one to open up over in connector, gets himself an AK and is able to just about dip out unscathed. So there you are, APEKS with a nice early opener.
No, that's a great opening, but they need to make sure they're holding on to this man advantage no matter what happens. Now, Marcelios has got this AWP that's kind of looking around this playground area while the bomb's actually going to make its way up through long. This could be a good reposition coming out from Marcelios, but he needs to make sure he's hitting this shot. Oh my goodness, how did... that looked like it almost connected there, and well, the A-bomb site's opened up. I mean, it's just heartbreaking, Scriv. They get that opening man advantage, and it just goes right back in favor of NEMIGA.
Yeah, it does seem like they're getting a little unlucky in places. The Kez will take down Lollipop, and there's still Dennison on this A site, looking to do some damage. Standing strong at Optimus. Going for some wide swings, but it works for him. Leaves Speedic in a 1 versus 2, and oh, Kez just able to creep around. Timing going to be everything here. Speedic playing contact. Able to dip into bank and gets a free one. Kez completely unaware, leaves Gruss in the 1 versus 1. However, speaking of being unaware, Speedic does not respect this flank at all, and he gets the bomb plant, but immediately dealt with. So, APEKS, it ends up being very, very costly, but they are happy to get a second on the board, and we'll see, because again, hate to be kind of negative about it, the buy into the next round's not going to be ideal, but still, they are keeping it a little more competitive towards the tail end of this first half.
One thing I'm certainly noticing from the city setup from APEKS is sometimes we see a bit of aggression in the early round, and maybe they try and find an opening pick, and then they fall back. We're never seeing any aggression in the mid-round. So a lot of the time for NEMIGA, when they're going for the B-site execution or when they're trying to execute towards A, they're just playing so deep into the sites that APEKS are almost never getting information. At least in that round, Truth gets the opening out through connector. Marcelios, yes, he gets traded with the AWP out in bathrooms, but at least they're trying to fight and take this map control and at least get some sort of information. The double AWPs really have not been able to find too much presence so far, and well, this is a quick long take coming out for the T's.
Once again, changing it up. When they lose a round, they go a little deeper into the strat book. Unfortunate. Double AWP setup on the A site itself is perhaps a little unexpected, but it seems to be effective so far from APEKS. Do need to be careful, yeah, not to get traded out, not to get maybe even rushed down by the AKs and whatnot, but Truth's still around, sees that utility, is not able to find the frag. Molly coming in, I think he's going to be hurt, he's going to be damaged up pretty massively, and forced to move forwards. Bit of a weird transition of positions, there we go, MDS creeping behind, will find the frag, but once again, a nice opening, but getting a little overzealous on the APEKS side, giving away 2 easy frags, and Dennis missing out on that opportunity. He saw the shadow and everything, knew that he was coming. The lurker is eliminated, but Russ going to have to do all the work from Optimus, and well, he just about does. Will he be able to survive Speedic? A bit of a position change. He goes down, but an awful lot of damage done. They're about even across the board into the 1 versus 1. Kez coming from underneath. Well, it's going to be difficult. I think timing's going to be everything.
It certainly is. It really just comes down to if the position's checked at the right time. Speedak. Now, he does have a smoke, but as soon as he uses it, it gives away his position, but the overextension. And APEKS win another 1 versus 1. These rounds are really coming down to the wire. And you've got to feel as if for APEKS, well, they're not even able to really build up this economy, even with 2 rounds in a row, considering that they've lost so many players. At least it is another round, and well, I'll tell you what, individual stepping up, that is such a big hold coming out from Gruss at the A-bomb site.
Yeah, massive. Massive. I wouldn't be surprised if it... Yeah, okay. So what we're going to see indeed. On cue for you there, Dweg, mate. But yeah, really, really good stuff from him, and been a bit of a problem, that Optimus angle. I think there's been a few times that NEMIGA have walked into it and lost a good number of players. Last time Speedic was able to get the bomb plant, and pretty much a repeat, I think. You know, ended up losing, ended up getting flanked out, and just a little too unexpected of the angles. So the clutch plays seem to be a lot better from APEKS when they're under that pressure, and if they can survive that long, if they can get to that moment where they put a decent player into a clutch, it seems to be going a lot better for them. But finding a way into the round seems to be a lot more inconsistent. Oh, boost up for Marcelius. Gonna spot them all, finds a kill as well, but my goodness, he does not want to re-peek into that. trying his best to get away. The flash is coming in. Truth is the one that's caught out. Marcellia is still here on the corner. They need to be wary of him. He's going to give them the control. Quick flick onto MDS, though. That's a massive frag. And, well, they've responded really well here on the Apex side, pushing into short, getting control of a different area.
Oh, that's a huge double kill coming out from Marcelios. A great hold so far around this A bomb site, but he needs to find a little bit more, and at least he's allowed the teammates to regroup. They've got so much information of the long commitment to come through from NEMIGA. So really, they just need to try and hold on to this close plan. And, well, Marcelios, he's coming in the back lines. This could be so big, but his teammates need to try and hold on the side. Dennis going to swing out, and, well, there you go. 3 kills going his way. A 4th round for Apex. And I tell you what, Scriv, that's probably the first time I've actually seen a convincing round going the way of the Norwegians.
Yeah, it took an awful long time, but we do eventually get there. I'm sure NEMIGA will be annoyed with themselves if it ends up being an 8-7 finish after such an explosive start. But it certainly seems since they've swapped things up and tried to hit the A bomb site a little more, it's really not worked for them. So maybe back to B, maybe a trusty rush. I don't know what's going on with Dennis today, but his utility, not usage, but like lineups don't seem to be solid. To be honest, I mean, it does its job. It covers monster, but I am pretty sure it's meant to go a little deeper into the pipe itself.
And maybe that's something that they can have a look back at the demos. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the time, especially with utility, is you often don't know for players if you miss utility unless you've got a teammate that is like kind of checking the angle and making sure, oh, you know, you missed that. So a lot of the time players can get into the habit of using like wrong lineups until they finally check a demo and realize. So maybe it's something for Apex to look forward to, or at least keep an eye on. But you're right. Look, we've seen a lot of A-site commitments coming out from NEMIGA, not really finding too much success recently. They're going to go back to what works best.
Sounded like they were going to burst in there, but kind of backtracking. Maybe trying to bait out as much utility as they possibly can before they go for the actual hit. Oh. It's weird, man. Some of this utility from both sides is just not landing. Truth will take down Speedic meanwhile in all this madness and all this failed utility kind of world. And that, once again, is probably opening the Apex are looking for. Box trying to be cheeky. That's the bomb as well, so it's going to force NEMIGA forwards. Lollipop finds one of the trades, but there's still so many players to get past on this B site. 1-for-1s are not quite cutting it right now, and the rotations are in, holding them back as the B bomb site stands strong, surviving with 3. So Apex starting to get a little more consistent, a little cleaner with their victories, and NEMIGA have just dropped off a cliff here.
They just gave away so much info. So APEKS was jump spotting, or like kind of peeking around from Monster. He saw 3 players. Is a little pumper utility, then there's a second pump, and then there's a third pump. The reason for that is obviously because the CT's re-smoke monster. But for NEMIGA, they've given away so much info that it's going to be a B-side commitment, and Apex, they just put 4 players there, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting for the execution to come through. And yeah, you're right, some misutility coming out for both sides. The barrels molly not coming out for the T's and allowing Gruss to just hold the position. And well, Apex, yeah, look, they're actually able to bring this back. I did not think that comeback was going to be able to come through. And, well, the bomb's going to get dropped immediately. Plus, great hold being able to find 3 kills. And, well, again, so much information over to this big bomb site. And for NEMIGA, I got to be honest, I did not think that they were going to kind of, like, take their foot off the pedal at all in this first half.
Yeah, it is wild. It is wild how much the shift has come in, and it's, like, been very kind of gradual, you know, Apex getting close and then winning out 1v1s a couple times in a row and now start to be really dominant. Nice stuff coming in from Lollipop to drop Truth. They managed to get their hands onto the M4 as well. That could be massive, but unfortunately APEKS, perfect timing from him to take down Lollipop while he's swapping between weapons. Fox will be the only one left. He does have the bomb. He's going to give the A site a go. And Marcelius does need to be careful. This, I suppose, very forward, but the only line of defense, and also not really got eyes on long. We'll start to move away back towards the site. So yeah, a smart little adjustment here. Spotting out towards short and long with there only being 20 seconds left. Spots the opponent. Passive little angle. Surely finds this. Maybe not. Marcelius left on 27 HP, but at the very least, he's bought enough information for the rotations. But NEMIGA getting this bomb plant, I think, is a pretty decent result for them. If you can find any more kills, then really happy with the way this round's gone for the half buy. We'll see what he's able to get. No kills coming in, but that bomb plant is a decent result.
Yeah, it's actually not bad. I mean, APEKS can probably be a little bit disappointed they allowed that bomb plant to come through. They had Marcelios trying to hold from bank towards that long position, and pretty much as soon as he gives away his position, he realizes the fact that it's probably better off, at least for his situation, that he just falls back. Don't kind of give up any unnecessary trade kills. Allow the bomb plant to come through. And, well, for APEKS, they've pretty much been running this double AWP setup for a very long time in this first half of Marcelios and Truth. They haven't been able to find too much success with it. It's really been the rifles that have been stepping up, the M4s to be holding down the sights. And for NEMIGA, this is the opportunity, you know, they've lost a lot of momentum, get that 9-6 half, and just get the confidence to go forward into the second half. And, well, look, that's a great opening. And it's been a while since we've seen an opening kill go away on the T side. Oh, my goodness.
Mental.
What?
Absolute madness. That's kind of what this NEMIGA team are about, though, I think.
That was insane.
Talked about their explosive nature. That's kind of why it literally just comes out of nowhere sometimes. So, got to be wary of it. Got to be ready for it. 9-6 still decent, but I think everything you were talking about, right? It very much applies. NEMIGA, I think, still going to be disappointed if it ends up being a 9-6, which looking more and more likely with Gruss on 2 HP. We'll see whether the B defenders come up large. They're going to have to. A lot of pressure on these two players in a mini pit. Just waiting nice and patiently, using as much utility as possible here on the T side. Gruss and Dennis, though, standing strong. How have they done this? Even Truth coming in with a kill. 5-on-3 goes to a 1-on-3 in 3 seconds, it seems. Goodness gracious me, NEMIGA. This has slipped away from them. And I mean, if this doesn't sum up how the end of this first half has been going, I don't know what will. APEKS just turning things completely on their head. Absolute madness towards the end from the CT side.
I don't even know what we saw in that round. Like, I don't understand how they just lose such a big advantage with only 2 players being there at the B bomb site. That is looking rough for NEMIGA. I mean, they get some great entries. Like, that kill onto Connector was unbelievable. And then they just can't seem to trade out the defenders at that B bomb site. I tell you what, I'm honestly so surprised that APEKS have somehow been able to put up 7 rounds. I was expecting, at least from what we saw in that beginning of the first half, that they got maybe 3, 4 at most. They get away with 7.
Yeah. Absolute madness. Absolute madness is the best way to sum it up. Once again, while we're quickly here, shout out to LootBet. You have the chance with the banner underneath to get 10 free spins and a €100 bonus on your deposit as well. So be sure to check that out. Of course, none of this would be possible without them. So huge shout out to those guys. And the banner underneath the channel will give you the chance. Joe, coming in with the first frag. Once again, textbook NEMIGA aggression, as it will be a very quick 5-on-4 in favor of the CT side.
A good advantage going the way of the CTs, and for APEKS, looks like they kind of want to upgrade the pace a little bit, start to make their way in quickly to the A bomb. So already a bit of information coming through. That can allow the rotates to come up. Good shot coming out for Fox as he follows up with 2. Speed 8 chiming into the action. And where was this in some of the last rounds of the first half?
Yeah, I know, right? I know. It is a bit mental. To be honest, I think the pistol round is where a lot of their individual prowess comes in. They have some pretty decent pistols, so certainly something to keep your eye on.
And obviously, Scriv, the fantastic odds from LootBet on your screen right now. If you guys want to get involved in betting on this best of one, because I tell you what, Scriv, I'm getting a gut feeling this could go down to the wire, considering how we have just seen so many up and down results in terms of rounds so far. Like, I just don't know which way this is going to go at this point.
Yeah, it is a real hard one to call, but exciting to see, and maybe get to see these teams in a best of 3 later down the line would be nice, if it ends up being that way. No, because this is a match coming into it, we felt like, and it looked straight. Okay, I'll hold the point because Marcelius, what the hell has happened here? He's just found 3 with the MP9.
This is Glocks. This is Glocks.
It's one of the rounds we're supposed to be able to talk about and just, you know, bring in the overall picture of the game. But Marcelius, he's like, nah, mate, 4K for me. Joe looking to end the madness. taking out the MP9, but he's managed to get behind and might just be able to catch him off. This is all mind games right now from Dennis. Unfortunately, for us, I suppose, not going to take the opportunity to go for the Glock kill. I mean, Jo is low. It certainly would have been possible, but he's playing it safer, right? There's an M4 dropped. He's a little sneaky, trying to follow in the footsteps of Jo and catch him off guard, because, as you can see, Jo just has no idea, really. He thinks he's going B and not respecting the fact that he could be behind him, which is absolutely fair. This is so hard to predict.
And for Dennis, he could have tried to just take the fight with the Glock, but instead he plays really passive. He picks up that M4 and probably makes this chance even easier. Now, straight away, that utility knows exactly that it has to be the A bomb site hit. This was 5 Glocks. And APEKS, well, they've turned it into a 1 versus 1. They've got a bomb plant. Dennis is now flanking him as he aggresses out through bank. Now, Jo could just stick this bomb. He's trying to figure out exactly where he is. Oh, he's sticking it. Oh, what? That was so close.
Oh my god.
6 HP, man.
This is so mad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's a massive round as well, like in a lot of different ways to be getting. NEMIGA holding on to their leads. The economy wouldn't have been able to suffer that loss. I mean, it barely can suffer the win, so. And yeah, I mean, on the APEKS side of things, it really facilitates this buy. They get a bomb plant, a lot of extra kill bonuses coming in for their players, and their buy is better than the CT side right now, so. It's going to be a tough one for NEMIGA to hold on to, but what a mental way to open that second half, in all honesty. And like I say, it would be cool to see these guys play a best of 3, because I think we have 2 very similar styles. They like to play aggressive. They like to go for those wide swings and get into the face of their opponents. And it results in some pretty exciting Counter-Strike.
I'm just lost. Like, I still can't believe that last round. But look, for NEMIGA, at least they're able to clutch it out. They get the double digits. They get their 10th. They've only got a couple of kits to work with and an MP9 from Speedak. Look at this crossfire being established towards the bathrooms. This could be a big shutdown coming out from NEMIGA. And they heard that scope from the AWP.
Grush and Marcelius on the trades. Pretty good stuff. Like you say, the information was there for NEMIGA to work with, but unfortunately, maybe that's what APEKS wanted, right? Trying to bait peeks into them, because it's a pretty safe cleanup coming in. On 50 HP as well. This is not ideal for NEMIGA. They're in a really tough spot. The A site kind of don't know it yet, but it's pretty much fallen, and Jo needed to win that fight. I think the remaining 2 players should just look to save. And this is something really interesting, actually, from previous series, okay, Dwight, that we may come to hate. They don't save. They do not like saving at all.
Right, okay.
They only started saving against Sprout when it was like in the and against alternate attacks in the consolidation final, when it was like the final map and it was really close, and you know they were like, oh damn, maybe we're gonna lose the game and therefore the series. But in situations like this where it's 7-10, they're just gonna go for it, whether it's the smart idea or not. And as you can see, it is not the smart idea, because they are not winning any of these fights right now. In fact, they're all gonna go down. So you kind of get it, because they can't buy into the next round anyway, and they would have probably just ecoed around those M4s, but still, it very much seems to be like a team ethos for NEMIGA that they just don't save. That's
really interesting, actually. It's certainly been a while since I've casted a NEMIGA team, and yeah, look, I mean, that's something to certainly keep an eye out for. I mean, yeah, look, if they would have saved those M4s, then potentially they could have done a little bit of damage. Are you forcing? Like, if they're forcing this, like, why didn't they just save the M4s?
I know, this is a frustrating thing.
Like, what?
Get
you
ready
had 2
for it, because
M4s.
they make some questionable economic decisions.
What? This makes absolute no sense. I'm sorry, Script. Like, what am I looking at? Why are they buying here when they had the chance of saving 2 M4s?
Yeah, it's incredibly chaotic, really. Yeah, questionable is the nice word for it, but these are the types of decisions that can really let teams get back on them, you know? And sure, again, they've got the individuals, and yeah, you can win any round when you've got pistols and stuff like that. But like you say, it definitely seems like they play very instinctively, and it's very much an afterthought where they're like, okay, let's go for the retake. And then they go, oh, we've got no money, guys. Maybe we should have saved those M4s and like force And then it's like, did someone say force? You know, they just go for it. It's a little wild to keep up with. And but in all seriousness, these are the types of decisions that can really lose you games. If this doesn't go well, if they don't at the very least do some damage, it could be like completely in vain. But Apex might not expect it. Doesn't matter though, because 4 kills come in, blink and you'll miss it. Speedic, the only one left, right? The Force Fire's done absolutely nothing.
Tell you what, if someone would have told me that Apex are going to be able to tie up the scoreline going into the second half, I would have said they would have been kidding me. Because now we're getting to the point, Apex are going to be able to pick up 9 rounds. This is probably just going to be a full eco to come out for NEMIGA in the next. Man, and they had, what, a 8-1 lead? It was something ridiculous. 8-1, I think it was, the scoreline. And now we are getting so close to being able to tie us up at 10 rounds each.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was 8-1. Honestly, NEMIGA, it's not what I expected. I thought, particularly when they started off so strong, I thought they were going to be, at least for the first half, pretty much unstoppable. They looked that way. They lost the round. They got the immediate shutdown, and then they lost all the rounds for the rest of the half. So really weird turn of events, and I think they themselves were a little unexpected of it. Generally tend to be a bit more of a T-sided team just because that more instinctive, individually based playstyle is so much more advantageous. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of a little surprised by it, right? Imagine how they feel being in this position where it's like, oh, okay, I guess everything we were doing's just stopped working, and now we're on the CT side, and our economy's gone to pot. This could be a bloodbath, though. Gross got to be careful. Doesn't see anyone just yet, but there's about to be, you know, 4 players, 5 players about to pop up and take him down if he goes any further.
Oh, they're going to commit the bomb. This could certainly be a little bit deadly for the CT side, as Speedak at least finds an opening kill, but straight away all the information comes up. They've already got truth out to the B bomb site, so they can just quickly rotate that bomb in, and it will be a very easy round. They've already been able to take a couple of players down, but I mean, imagine how Apex feel. They're probably going into that first half and being like, man, like we're getting absolutely romped. Like, we're not finding this easy at all. We can't even find an opening pick. We're missing nades. Like, we're having the roughest time in the world. And then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just get a streak of momentum. They're getting confidence. It seems like players are hitting their shots. They're looking incredibly sharp on the entry. And everything's going right for Apex. And, well, this is going to be their 10th round.
Yeah, and I feel like into the next as well, there's not going to be much of a fight put up by the CT side. They will have a buy, but it's not going to be ideal. I suppose the AWP for Speedic, but yeah, the utility and whatnot, those important kind of deeper elements of a buy, just not going to be ideal. The core, the smokes, the flashes, but they need a little bit of offensive utility, I think, which is certainly going to be difficult. Man, it's still so surprising. It is still so surprising that we end up here. I mean, credit to Apex, but honestly, NEMIGA, it just is a little uncharacteristic for them. They normally, from what I've seen, just don't turn up to a map. And then the maps that they are good on, the maps that they start off well on, they'll have those individuals fragging out of their minds, and they're able to just kind of very simply 16-8 kind of scoreline, right?
Yeah.
Not used to such a shift during the game.
Well, you look at the buy and you think, okay, well, one thing to certainly keep into account, there's no kits at the moment for NEMIGA, so they're looking at this thinking, if we're going to win this round, we need to shut it down before the post plan even comes into the T side. 3 players over towards B for the CTs. And Truth, what? I mean, he's literally has not got a flashbang, not got a smoke, no utility. He's just all by himself. His teammates are like, "Go, mate, you just do you," and he finds 2 kills on B.
The wild thing as well is I feel like that's kind of the way that NEMIGA would like to play their T side.
Yeah.
You know, someone walking in with no utility to speak of and just finding 2 headshots opening up a bomb site. That's not the case. That's not the case. Their T side, I suppose, initially may well have been that way, but it didn't seem as consistent. Marcelius going to take out Speedic as well. 5-on-2. Not looking too good. Box is behind a couple players here, though. I mean, he could really do some damage. Probably hears them over at short. Should be 2 easy frags on long. Perfect timing from him. Oh, I say so. It's a little messy, but he does get the both of them. However, still remains to be seen whether that's going to be enough for NEMIGA to pick up the round. Truth is low. Molly done smoked out here at long. Joe is coming in from behind as well, so they have a nice little back-end avenue of attack, but Box drops pretty quickly. Truth, no way you expect him to be here, but messes up the spray down. Joe's left too low. Marcelius with the peak. Unfortunately, NEMIGA, like I say, the damage is already done. The two of them not able to pick up the pieces in the end.
This is the first time, Scriv, that we've seen actually the lead now coming out for APEKS. And yeah, look, I mean, Box, maybe you could say it was a little bit of a rough transition to find a couple of those kills out from long, but it wasn't enough because, well, they lost so many opening advantages that even 2 kills going for Box, it doesn't really make a difference. And, well, pretty much no investment coming through into round number 22. APEKS are going to be able to even strengthen their lead going further. And you look at the money on the T side, 9k up for Marcelios, 9k for Dennis, 7.5 for Truth. There is so much money for the Norwegians.
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable right now. A lot of these rounds, bare minimum of 3. Being kept alive is what we always talk about, so... It certainly is crazy. It may well look close in terms of that scoreline and whatnot, but, you know, you have to consider the fact that, what, in the previous kind of 10 rounds, only 3 of them have been won by NEMIGA. So, not ideal. Ooh. Clean little headshots coming in from Joe, though. Able to pick up 2 on the Deagle. All right, this is something working out in their favor. There you are, completely locking down the A-bomb site. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, you've got Truth pushing into B, trying to open up over here. Needs to get the both of them, and he will. 2 important frags. The bomb as well, not too far behind him. Rotations are, of course, pretty quick from the CT side, but this is where it becomes a lot harder. They don't really have much of a way in. No utility, no defuse kits or anything like that, so they need to do damage before the bomb goes down. It's just not happening. Truth will drop eventually, but MDS being kept out. 2 versus 1, sure, it's brought close, but I don't think MDS will be able to find anything here at the tail end of the round.
You know, one thing we mentioned in the pregame is sometimes like the lack of firepower for APEKS. I'll tell you who's really stepping up for them in the T side is Truth. He's finding some really impactful kills over towards that B bomb site, being able to open up the site, especially when they're in man disadvantages like they were in this round. And, well, NEMIGA, I mean, they make it expensive. We saw a couple of nice Deagle kills coming out from Joe out towards long. They pick up that AK. So, all in all, it was actually not a bad round coming out from NEMIGA. But 12-10, you're absolutely right. This momentum has just completely shifted in favor of APEKS. And, yeah, the scoreline looks close, but these last 10, 11 rounds have not been close at all.
Lovely stuff from Truth. Seems to certainly be the man of the hour for APEKS, it has to be said. Oh, okay. That's a bit awkward. Unnecessary damage onto Lollipop. Whoopsie daisy. Triple up setup, Dweg. What do you reckon to this, then?
Well, you know, things have not worked on gun rounds on their CT sides, so they say, you know what, let's just see if we can change it up. Let's see if maybe triple orbs. I mean, it's not something that you see every day. It's pretty uncharacteristic. And, oh, wow, it looked like Joe was going to be able to follow up, but at least they're able to hold on to that man advantage. But for the T side, they want to continue this pressure, and finally NEMIGA are starting to shut things down.
Well, there you are. Something a bit different. I mean, they don't do all the work, but a fair amount of it coming in from those AWPs, looking pretty good in the process. And this is the thing, they had such a buffer, they had such a build-up of rounds early on that, well, if it takes you a while to come alive again, it's not the end of the world. I mentioned way back when it was 4-0, I think, 5-0 maybe. Talked about how important it was for APEKS to get a foot in the door early on, because these early rounds can come back to bite you in the backside. And you never know. This could be the spark for NEMIGA to turn things around once again and clean things up here in the best of one, to remind you folks. So would be the salty run back, as they say, for Apex required. But talking like this round is over. You never know. Dennis and Gruss, now just Gruss, now just no one. So unfortunately, I did try and build them up a little bit, but nothing happening. Straight into the AWPs. NEMIGA will get that 11th on the board. Pretty damn clean. Apex have got plenty of cash. Pause coming in, I would imagine, from them. And they very, very quickly need to nip this in the bud.
Now, one thing, if Apex were paying attention, they might actually have realized that there was a triple AWP setup. Considering Joe had an AWP and he got taken down, and then we saw Speedak and Box on the other two AWPs, there's certainly a potential that Apex can kind of work it together, saying, right, they actually had triple AWP setup going into that last round. They know at least they were double AWPs. They know that much. So for Apex, they might kind of go into this saying, okay, maybe we'll try and go for a quick BXE, or we'll try and do something different to try and opt and work around these AWPs that are on the back of NEMIGA. And you're right, this could be the kickstart. It could be, you know, the moment for NEMIGA to really start to claw in, because it makes it certainly easier that even though they've gone quiet for quite some time, because they had such a great lead to start this map off, they only really have to get 5 more rounds to win this map. So it doesn't seem like an impossible task.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it, right? And I feel like that's part of what promotes that pause, and hopefully Apex, for the sake of Apex, of course, you know, I have to remain impartial, but I'm just saying, speaking from their perspective, they're able to turn it around. Repeat from Speedic is ill-advised, it has to be said. Maybe if you're learning how to play the game, that's not the way to do it, but he is fast enough, he is confident enough, and able to take down Marcelius. Dennis has recovered that AWP, so still in play for the T side, but NEMIGA, nice early opening pick. They seem to have refound their mojo, and well, it's working pretty effectively for them.
And well, that's certainly something, you know, the basis of Counter-Strike, never or never like swing on the same angle twice and re-peek into it. But Speedak, especially with how quick he is, he actually gets away with a very nice opening. And well, for NEMIGA, they do have that secondary AWP of Box trying to establish a bit of a crossfire out towards the bathrooms area. No B presence at all from Apex. They are all grouped out here just in front of bathrooms.
Could be deadly. The AWP 1-2 punch, perhaps. Speedic, gotta be careful. Utility coming over the top. It's not deep enough. He misses the flick, and they are starting to track him down, but this is where he comes up big. Unfortunately, only good for one there, but it's still his second of the round. There's still 2 more AWPs to deal with as well. Gonna be tough. Nice shot from Jo, attempted. Unfortunately, missing the easy flick. The second one a little harder, but this is it. Box coming in from behind. That 1-2 punch that I talked about, creating room for the flank. There's so many AWPs, they just can't get it done. Akez is the only one left. He will trade back. A second coming in quickly onto Lollipop, and now he has a path towards the B bomb site.
I don't think he's got time. No, he doesn't.
Don't think he does, so that's unfortunate. I hadn't noticed, and I suppose neither had he.
Look, it's not the biggest deal in the world considering how built the economy is from Apex, but you don't really want to be sort of surviving after time. It's not the greatest of things on the T side, but yeah, a bit of a misread coming out from Apex. At least they kind of make it expensive. You're right. There is just so many AWPs, and well, at least there's only 2 now going into round number 25 rather than the triple AWP setup. And I'll tell you what, for NEMIGA, if they win out this round and they're able to like win it pretty convincingly, I reckon they're just going to go straight back to the triple AWP setup.
Yeah, probably, to be honest. It does seem Apex struggling massively against it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. Maybe you get used to it eventually. Maybe some slightly better utility usage from them. You know, we saw Speedic getting aggressive at short, right? And the flashes are behind him. Maybe some changes in that department, but ultimately, yeah, they seem to be really struggling, and rightly so. It's not something that you see very often because of the expense. So there you go, full circle.
They probably expected that they forced Box back, considering the divider model came through. The flashbang is perfect, and well, that grants him the opening kill. But Speedak, he wants to try and be able to find a trade, and that's why he's looking for an opportunity to find an opening kill. But for Apex, they're setting up the utility for the A bomb site execution, but they've got to lurk over at B, and APEKS, he's going to be out of strike.
Needs to go huge. Looking for a few more. Oh, Speedic, meanwhile, over on A, is able to find Gruss. Is it going to be enough? They seem to have become a little more comfortable around the AWPs into this round. APEKS doing the classic waiting in the smoke. No one around, though. Does have a fair amount of control. The fact that he's out monster with no contest and not had to use any utility does make life a bit easier. Love this angle from Lollipop, but yeah, needed the quickest reactions you've ever seen. Not going to happen. Joe also falling, and Speedic more likely than not going to save. I know I said earlier on that they don't like saving, but a 1 versus 4 with the AWP and nothing else is insane. There is, of course, a fine line between insanity and bravery, I suppose, but all the same, APEKS able to regain the lead towards the tail end here, bouncing back pretty well to pick up their 13th.
And I'll tell you what, Dennis actually gets pretty lucky there, considering that Lollipop, he was not checked. Like, no one from APEKS was actually checking that barrel's position, but a little bit of a unfortunate timing, and, well, APEKS able to open up that B bomb. It's like 4 players staying alive, and, well, considering how many times they invested those AWPs in, it's actually put a bit of a staple on the economy. And, well, they're going to just half buy it. So, really, they're expecting that APEKS is going to go up to a 14th.
Yeah, all the way down to the wire. So, confident in themselves, I suppose. Again, it is that best of 1, so going to be a little difficult for them. They don't have as much room to work with. The next best of 3 that they play in will potentially be their final, right? So a lot riding on this, a lot riding on these little decisions, and honestly seems most un-NEMIGA-like.
And a bit of an update for any of the viewers wondering who is going to go forward like into the next series. We actually saw Alternate Attacks being able to win out against Fate 16-7 on that game over on the B stream. So the winner of this best of 1 will be facing off against the Germans. This is certainly a little bit more of a closer scoreline. And for NEMIGA, I don't know, like, I just have not been convinced enough on the City side that a comeback can come through.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely does seem like these rounds that they have been winning come off the back of a bit of cheese, the triple upset, you could say, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to keep it going as well, as we're seeing here. You need to kind of not only be winning those rounds with the triple upset, but pretty damn cleanly, losing like 1 player maximum. To be honest, because your economy just can't prop up 3 AWPs forever. And it also arguably brings them into a position like this where it's been very, very costly. So when they do lose rounds, it's even worse for them because they don't have as much left in the bank as if they'd have, you know, won that 1 round where they only had 1 AWP, everyone's on the M4s, that's comfortable, that's our win condition. They'd probably be able to keep that going a little bit longer, but not the case. So yeah, it's been very, very costly for them. And it does feel like they're more rounds that APEKS are losing rather than NEMIGA winning. I know that sounds a bit weird, but sometimes that is how it is. And I think APEKS know that because they've adjusted really, really well to regain the lead. So it's kind of prevalent in that sense. Nice position here from Speedic. Able to pick up a couple with that 5-7. Pretty big damage coming in, and Vox catches them distracted. Oh, not able to find another, but a hell of a lot of damage has been done. The A-bomb site is open for now, but the potential of the retake is certainly there for NEMIGA.
Russ playing a little bit of an off angle out towards APC, trying to spam through, but it's all down to Marcelios into the 1 versus 1. And he's got the Tech 9, the AWP to work with. I can't believe NEMIGA win that. Now, what we saw there, Scriv, towards Connector is how Speedak with that 5-7 was able to get up. They threw 2 mollies in Connector, and they were so close to him, but he was able to escape. So for APEKS, they were like, no, he can't be in Connector. We've thrown 2 mollies. We would have heard it. And no one is keeping an eye out. The timing is perfect. The 5-7s do so much damage. And, well, NEMIGA really win the impossible.
Absolutely. And that may well be the round that turns the tide here. APEKS, the ball now in their court. How do they bounce back? Pressure is on. Do or die here towards the tail end of this best of one on Overpass. We have indeed said that the winner of this will go off to face against alternate attacks and give themselves a bit of an easier road. So really, really important rounds at the tail end of Overpass here. And man, it's got to be hard. You lose a round like that right at the end of the map. It is very, very hard to bounce back from. So we'll see how APEKS respond.
Well, they certainly need a response. APEKS. This is probably one of the most passive rounds we've seen from them yet, at least in terms of their control over towards that B bomb site. Pretty much nothing coming out. So for NEMIGA, if they were to kind of take any short presence or aggress out through Monster, which would be a very aggressive angle, they would get a lot of information. And for APEKS, this doesn't look like it's going to be a B play at all. This looks to be just a straight A commitment.
Simple stuff, really. Not wanting to overcomplicate things, just creep up, hit their shots. Boxer's position is going to be absolutely massive. They line up for him, but he's not able to find a single frag. He leaves Marcellia so low. That could have been absolutely devastating. Speedic going to have to do everything here. The no-scope coming in, able to survive a little while longer to get a third. How is he still alive? Does get traded back eventually. Joe went down in all that chaos as well, apparently. The nade doing the tiniest amount of damage. It's a 2 versus 2 that is so hard to call with more chip damage coming in. It looks a bit more doable for NEMIGA, but the head's lining up here for APEKS. Lollipop goes down, and Dennis will find the final 2 frags. Massive round from Dennis there to get APEKS their 14th, and despite the absolute insanity from Speedic, NEMIGA can't get it done.
Where's the support? Speedak, he goes nuts. He gets an insane 3K, but where's the support, right? The rotations were too slow into that A bomb side. Joe could not back him up at all from the truck position. And, well, NEMIGA, I mean, they've got to be kicking themselves. They had such a great hold from their AWP, they can't convert the round. Another tactical from APEKS. They've certainly, this must be their 3rd or 4th tactical. They've certainly used a lot of them. And you'd have to think NEMIGA have to play for OT. They can't force the issue here.
Yeah, as much as they want to.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry. But I think it's going to be really hard for them to take it to overtime, even APEKS. Oh, a round like that, you know, it's absolutely massive. TeamSpeak goes wild, right?
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, NEMIGA, particularly looking again at Speedic, you have to feel a little sorry for them. Just doesn't work out. Feels like they're so very close, and we've talked about kind of this mental fortitude and how important it is and all that kind of stuff, and it always is. And in these best of one scenarios, it can throw you off so hard. There is no, okay, not our map, we'll give it our best shot, but our pick is coming up next, or whatever it may be. It's not like that. So you have to be able to just hold on as best you can within the map itself, and that can be difficult to do. We'll see how things go. We did see them pick things up with the pistols previously. Not quite as strong a buy this time around, but they're certainly capable when it comes to these riskier, looser kind of play style rounds. But unfortunately, it looks like it is going to be a B hit, and there's no one really around at this point for NEMIGA. That one Molotov is going to keep the vast majority of the team away from the bomb site. So at the very least, a bomb plant coming in here for APEKS. And once the bomb goes down in a situation like this, where you only have the pistols to work with, it becomes a hell of a lot harder to pick up the round. So I think that might just be all she wrote. Gruss will find Joe on the flank, and it looks like they're just kind of going to save the armor and whatnot that they've got into the next round. Should be an easy 15th for APEKS.
And I'll tell you what, really, that was actually a pretty smart play coming out from the APEKS side, just walking out through Monster into the B bomb site. There was so much presence out towards short and connector, so they get pretty lucky. They're not running into all of those cheeky CTs, but cleaning up the kills. And Box is going to be the last one left, trying to pick up a 5-7 to see if he can do some damage towards the end of the round. But this is going to be a much-needed 15th up for APEKS. One more round away from being able to go up into the upper bracket final against alternate attacks. And look, they've grinded, Scriv. They've really grinded from being, what, 8-1 down. They were really having such a rough time in that first stages of the first half, but they've brought it back, and they are so close to being able to close out this best of one.
They can feel it. This is so often where the pressure can get to teams, and it has, like you say, been a very, very difficult comeback for them. Did say it would, you know, be so hard. You kind of can't turn the switch off. You have to keep the relentless pressure, the relentless threat going forwards when you start off so very poorly on a map. And credit to them. They've really done it. They have indeed flipped things around and kept it in their favor the vast majority of the time. NEMIGA every now and then picking up a round or two, but never truly able to get that that solid driving seat position, I suppose. This would be the time to do it, of course. No time like the present. Still going to be difficult for them. No kits available. Box is in a fab position, though. If he peeks out at the right time, could get behind all three of them. But he's a little apprehensive, right? Doesn't want to make that risky play because of the nature of the round. Quick smoke and just drops back.
No, we've seen this play before coming out from APEKS. They take the bathrooms control and they leave a late lurk out towards short. Speedak, bit of an uncharacteristic missed shot coming out from the orb, but that gives away his position of especially where he is around this bathrooms area. APEKS have still got they can bring this bomb over the B bomb site and have a fake to A, but the first kill goes the way of NEMIGA. There's only 30 seconds left.
Really need to start to make a move. Okay, there you go. There's one. Box still around on this A site. They've actually got two on that A site, and unfortunately, like you've said, it's the other side of the map, but Joe's still alive at the bottom end of Monster, playing it perfectly, and that'll be the round. No time for Grus to get anything done. Damage is cool. AWP saved is cool, but maybe overthinking things a bit too much there, would you say? I don't know. It seems a bit weird from APEKS.
I just don't get that round. Like, they're not even faking. Like, they have one player that's staying at A. He's not doing anything. He's not throwing any util. He's not showing presence. So if he's not doing anything, how can it be a fake? And NEMIGA, yes, they've got you know, a bit of a heavy stack at that A bomb site, but for the B players, there's no reason for them to rotate up to A because it's a fake. It's got to be A. There's little time left on the clock. And for APEKS, you know, you can't just leave Grus to do absolutely nothing around that banana and bathrooms position. He needs to be making something. And with NEMIGA, they close out a very crucial round. And we're going into round number 30. The buy is not great for NEMIGA, and it means that MDS is going to be onto an MP9.
Tough times for NEMIGA once again. Box, though, in a great position. Looked really good for him in the previous round. Opted not to go for it. Maybe this is the time to get aggressive, to be a bit riskier. Kind of desperate for something to go his way. They are not ready for this at all. There is three of them, so going to be difficult to find all, but that's a pretty decent result. Picks up one, able to back off and get the smoke down. Now a problem that APEKS have got to deal with, and a man down early on. So a really, really great opener from Box.
Box can drop this bomb. If he takes down Grus, that bomb's dropped right into the open. If the tick on steps. Oh, and it is. That's such a big round coming out. Speedak with the orb. And, well, Scriv, I think we're going to be going to overtime here. APEKS could not close out the last round, and it does not look like they're going to be able to close this one out either.
Tough times ahead once again. And it has come all the way down to the wire. I talked about it, those early rounds, right? It took them a long time to get the momentum going, and this is how it costs them, and a bit of a reset for NEMIGA could be massive. Wow, that's a little weird for Box. Oh, and he's in between the T's right now, making a lot of noise. Akez has heard him. The flank coming in from behind, so they're down, there goes Box. Yeah, they just run out of time though because of that. Once again, not keeping track of things. Akez looking great with a 2K, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Weird way for regulation to end there, Dweck. But of course, we are into overtime.
I tell you what, there's honestly been so many rounds that I've looked at, and I'm just confused myself, and I think surely the players must be confused, right? It's just, yeah, look, there's some really wacky rounds coming out from both these sides, but look, for NEMIGA, you got to give it to them. They were able to come back from 13 to 15 down, bring us into overtime. Now, the scary thing is that now they've got so much money, they can try and go for those double and triple AWPs again if they want to.
True. That's very true. This could be the reset that they were kind of looking for. So it might put them in a really, really good position in that sense. You don't have to worry about the economy so much, and I think it's something on their CT side that plagued NEMIGA pretty much the whole way through, it felt like. The ideas that they had didn't seem to work out, and where they start to pick up rounds towards the end to bring us to overtime off the back of the aggressive plays, particularly from box. So I think maybe they won't need to do that as much now that they'll have cash to play with.
And I mean, we saw like so many rounds in that second half on the City side. There was always a player that didn't have util, or there was an MP9 out, or a FAMAS, or there was always something. But when you get into OT, I'm looking at these gun rounds and I'm thinking, right, when both teams had full rifles, once they had the full package, NEMIGA looked better, in my opinion, both on CT and T. So going into overtime, I don't think the momentum can kind of still play into an account. I just reckon it comes down to whether we can see the impactful orbs coming out for the NEMIGA camp. 16k MR3, he's certainly not worried about the economy.
All right, well, here we go. Into overtime. A pretty exciting opener here for you and I, particularly for myself at the Malta Vibes. Feeling it, looking good, and exciting stuff. Like I say, I hope we get to see these two teams play off in a best of 3 later down the line. NEMIGA looking to get the maybe easy run against alternate attacks. They beat them yesterday, so who's to say that they can't do that again? Meanwhile, APEKS looking to maybe prove a few people wrong that they do indeed have the ability. I think we knocked them for their firepower. It doesn't seem like one player has come online in the way that Speedic on the other side of things, is quite far ahead. Their entire squad really performing. They've all had big rounds. Truth, I feel like, really turning things around on this T side. But Dennis, some great clutches towards the end of regulation. Unfortunately, not quite enough to take the victory over the line, but still, they've looked great as a squad. No,
you're absolutely right. There certainly isn't that individual that across on a consistent basis has been making big plays and making big clutches. But it's not to say that APEKS haven't been playing well. They certainly have been playing like a unit. And, when there is an individual to step up, it always seems like there's someone that can kind of put their hand up and say, I'll be able to do it. In particular, Truth has done a great job on the T side. Gruss and Akers, I think, have done a really good job on the CT side, on the defensive A, that we may be able to go and see into the second half of OT. But going forward, it is going to be the double ops. Not quite the triple, which is a little bit disappointing, but look, at least the double ops coming out, and, well, they've certainly got a plan. And Speedak, he's heard so much information.
Oh, needed to win that fight. Maybe if he'd have stuck around, he could have taken it against Dennis. Unfortunately, tried to get aggressive. Falls a little too easily, perhaps. Box over at long on that secondary orb. Yeah, they don't really have control of the A site. What the hell? MDS just drive by onto Gruss. And suddenly NEMIGA have got the advantage. This is a wild one to open up overtime.
That was one of the quickest rounds we've seen from APEKS yet today, and, well, they just try and go fast into that A-bomb site after getting that opening kill. But it ends up being a 4-on-3 advantage. Even for NEMIGA, they've pushed a player aggressively of Joe towards the short phase, so they know there's no B presence at the moment. And will box. He might really be able to box them in around this bathroom's position.
Certainly looks that way. Maybe that's what they're waiting for a little bit, though. It looks like Truth is watching for it. A really tough angle, regardless of how quick you are on the AWP. Barrel spotted. Easy stuff for Truth, right? Waiting for that aggression. Evening things back up now. Oh, great shot from MDS as well as APEKS. It seems for a second they pull things back, but just walking straight into the crosshairs. This Optimus position has been so difficult for both teams to deal with throughout the game on their T sides. Dennis trying to find the trade. He will do so indeed. Spots out another as well. 10 seconds left. Bear in mind they've run out of time way too much so far in this game, and I think they're about to run out of time once again. Yeah, no time to get anything done. NEMIGA will get the 16th finally on the board in overtime, of course, so no victory off the back of it, but APEKS really struggling against that omnipresent enemy, the clock.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and it's certainly been a bit of a problem for both sides, I'd say. Like, a lot of these executions have come in quite late, sort of 30, 25 seconds left, and, well, for APEKS, they're not able to try and deal with the truck players and seeing if they can find those opening kills, those entries, the all-important kills. Now, what is interesting is they've not reinvested the secondary AWP. They're just holding on for Speedak, so maybe a bit of a change-up that we can see here from NEMIGA.
Hopefully.
Ooh,
They seem to be the ones that have shifted the momentum. Double nade coming in, not quite able to find the frag, but yeah, a lot of nice HEs flying over the short area just then. But there's no one here. How weird. NEMIGA swear 2 nades just came over, but there's no one there. So a little strange. There's bullets inches away from the head of Gruss. Different kind of round here. We saw a lot of speed in the previous. This one a bit slower, a bit more chunk damage being done off the back of the utility, but no real aggression from either side.
Like a double pump kind of setup coming out from APEKS. They show heaps of quick map control out forward, sure, but look at the utility raining in. But the retakes, they will be coming in quickly for the reposition. Bomb dropped into the open. MDS trying to see the best that he can, but they get overwhelmed. And Speedak, he's really the only player here at this B bomb site. He's got to try and wait for his teammates to try and help him out.
Coming just yet. Smoke's in the way. They do have kits available, of course. Oh, Box going for the wide swing. Will end up falling. A great round for APEKS to be picking up. Marcelius cleaning it up at the end as well. And there you have it. 16-16. Looking pretty damn good across the board from both teams. Again, the back and forth kind of continues. It looked really good for NEMIGA on the get-go with that previous round, going their way with the time. A lot of chunk damage done, like I said, with those early HEs. But no, not to be... Never that easy in this game, it seems.
And that's one thing is, like, in Counter-Strike, is sometimes you can have a round where it's your advantage and it just goes the opposite way almost immediately. We saw some really great entries coming out for the T side, and, well, look, they're able to at least find their 16th. Speedak is going to be able to at least find the equalizer and find the opener kill. Dennis, I mean, it's so quick on the trade coming out for the T side that NEMIGA, they can't even hold on to the advantage they found.
Oh, beautiful stuff coming in from Truth on the other side of the map. APEKS really shutting them down. Like you say, it looked good for NEMIGA from the get-go, but not going to be the case once the round really gets underway. 4 versus 3 with the defense being split all across the map. So this is a terrible position for them to be in. They have no info to work with, really. Slight bit of a positional advantage, I was going to say, for Joe. Does come in, evens things back up. That's a pretty big one, actually. Able to back away safely and change things up. Still taking an aggressive post, so it's a nice frag, but they're still kind of in a similar situation. They've obviously evened things up in terms of the manpower, but they still don't have any information and a real idea of where the bomb is going to end up. Now that he's spotted a couple, surely the rotations come in for NEMIGA.
Oh, they already are. Box is coming out through connector and MDS is coming out through the heaven position. So straight away, they know exactly this is going to be a B-side execution. And this post utility could be massive for the CT side. And they're all coming out from Monster. Joe could be able to find a couple of nice kills. Does miss the first. Needs to try and get some help from his teammates. I have to be able to find the trade. MDS going to fall. Oh my goodness. It looked like NEMIGA was going to be able to shut that down. That was a 3-on-3. They had the utility. They were all in the right position. But APEKS, man, what a recovery on that execution.
Absolute madness. Absolute madness. This game is so weird, so wild to follow, honestly. I believe we're just waiting for things to swap over. I was going to say, I was very confused to follow the hood at the top. Just kind of the wrong way around at this point. It is APEKS. There we go. Beautiful stuff. Who are in the lead at the moment. Of course, 19 to take it over the line, 18 apiece to take us to a second overtime. MDS going to take a massive tag early on. Not the way that NEMIGA want to be starting things when they're already a round down. And the game's slipping away from them in a lot of ways. But Kez just walking out is perhaps the kill on the silver platter they were looking for. Dennis as well also going to fall towards short, trying to maybe recover the fact that his teammate went down so early on. A very messy opening CT round here from APEKS. 5-on-3 in about 30 seconds. Really not ideal. And Gruss inside of the smoke. Incredibly risky stuff from him as well. Gonna fall. So this is a wild one. Truth gonna look to hold things down. Manages to find one. But he's on his own. Support is coming, but it's going to take an awfully long time. Flash going in for him. It's absolutely perfect. Does it blind up enough? No, it doesn't. Speedic able to finish him off easily enough. And now Marcelius with a monumental task.
He's certainly got a lot to do. And for Apex, you know, a couple of question marks there where they just try and aggress so, like, high progression coming out into the early rounds. And, like, it just does not work out at all. They don't find pretty much any opening picks. And, well, NEMIGA... It was a 5-on-3 pretty much instantly. It was so quickly they found those opening 2 kills, and from there, they could just play the waiting game, slow it down, make their way into the B-site execution, and, well, Apex, the double AWP setup, not really finding anything in the previous round. Maybe this time around it can find a little bit more, but we're tied up once again, Scrib, 17-17.
Indeed, no clear winner. No clear winner. I mean, that was the story of the second half, and it continues here into overtime. The question, of course, remains, how much longer will we keep on going? Alternate attacks await with bated breath in that winner's BO3. Ooh. Big chunk onto Lollipop. Very nice indeed. Once again, all that early damage is going to make all the difference. Oh, Russ making a bit of noise, dropping down. Meanwhile, down goes Lollipop from the boost up, I believe. Maybe just through the wallbang in general, but all the same, that earlier chunk damage that came through is actualized with the first frag for Apex. Meanwhile, Joe creeping in, risky stuff from him, but they do need, a bit of a hero to step up, and the timing is so unfortunate for APEKS. Looks away at the wrong time, and Joe is going to pick up 2, opening up the B-bomb site, looking for more, unfortunately denied, but a massive hole now in the Apex defense on that B-bomb site.
And I'm just so confused from NEMIGA. Like, they're walking B, but they don't have the bomb. I just don't know what they're trying to achieve here. I mean, they really have to try and rush into this a bomb site. They don't have a lot of time. There's going to be 2 rotators here from Marcelios and Dennis to try and hold it down. 20 seconds left. The footsteps are certainly going to be heard in a minute, especially if any utility comes through. And we've seen these holds before. Marcelios with this AWP, going to turn it all down to box, and, well, NEMIGA, I don't know what they're trying to achieve there. Like, yes, Joe gets a great opening of 2 kills, but he's got no backup, they've got no bomb. It seems like they're trying to make individual plays out of nothing.
Yeah, it is wild. It is wild. And I think kind of what you're getting at is the point that they don't really need to. They are capable of grouping together or maybe working off of that one individual. But it's like, okay, I'm going to go and make this play, maybe make that known, and then you have your team sticking around so that they can help you out as quickly as possible, rather than, I'm going to go off and make this solo play, you go off and do that solo play.
Yeah.
Maybe all together we can make something happen. But it's like, you have one of them work, you need to act upon that one that works, whereas they're just too far gone by that point. So yeah, to me, it kind of smacks of desperation. They don't have much of an idea here, and coming into what could be the final round of the game, it is certainly not looking good from a strategical standpoint. That's safe to say.
This is a nice crossfire being established out from Long, because Marcelios, he can try and at least find an opening kill, pull the attention away from Dennis. The flashbang does come out. Dennis can't find the opener, and Marcelius blind. He can't repeat the angle, and for NEMIGA, that's a great opening. They get a 5-on-4, and they've gained so much map control out towards Long.
Really good stuff. That could be the opener that they so desperately needed. Great molly as well. Akez in such an awkward spot, so very blind. Marcelius gonna save him there from Joe, who had just come around the corner while he was indeed full white. Great gap in the smoke for him to work with as well. Picks up box. Man advantage now. Solid man advantage for Apex, looking to get the 19th, looking to finish things off here and now. MDS to save the day. Will find the first. Has 3 more to go, however. The bomb all the way back at the other end of Long. He's only got about 15 seconds to work with, plus that bomb plant. Really not looking good. Peeks out, and Marcelius will pick him up. There you have it. Apex taking it 19-17 after such a poor start. Color me surprised, because I really thought NEMIGA were just going to run away with it.